right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode for the evening. We're going to be doing shorter episodes, you might have noticed, on reactionary opinions. And the topic of discussion that we're going to be talking about now is, you might have heard in current affairs, there was a school in South Africa. Where exactly was it, guys?
It was in KZN.
Northern Natal.
Yeah. So there was the school. It was a Curro school, which is a brand of private school. It's kind of like a franchise of private school that had a exhibition. It was a child in the school had obviously done a little bit of artwork, and what he had done is portrayed Jesus and various biblical imagery in rather aggressive ways.
Obscene.
Yeah, definitely obscene.
Blasphemous.
So a very blasphemous and very aggressive way that he portrayed Jesus and various biblical imagery. And the reaction was one clearly of outrage. The bottom line remains is that it is a private school, and the school itself framed itself as a Christian school. Their motto, I believe, what was their motto again? Oh yes, to God be the glory. Yeah, yep. To God be the glory was their motto. I don't know how much more Christian you can get than that. And they basically sold the parents a pretty cuck product if they allowed this sort of thing to go down. What's your guys' opinions? D-Dog, what's your opinion on the whole story?
Well, I guess sort of my take on it is, it's like you say, what sort of institution is this? This is a Christian private school, and they're, platforming satanic art. So, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me that, the parents would obviously not be cool with this. And, some people may say, they may say one of two things. They'll be like, y'all, but it's free speech, and, people should say whatever they want. I'm like, yeah, in your home. Like the thoughts are free. You can't just say whatever you want and expect no consequences. So I mean, this goes back to what we said about free speech. It's an idea that isn't reality. I can't just say whatever I want here on the internet and with my name being out there and not expect to have some consequences. That's just sort of how it is. Yeah. And the second angle is some people might say, well, if you don't like it, leave. And I'll say, well, maybe I like where I'm at. Maybe I want to change it, and I don't want it to be. Why should I have to leave from an otherwise excellent school? Maybe we'll just, give them the metaphorical clap and, take this as a lesson learned.
Yeah, well, it's an aggression. It's outright an act of aggression and bigotry. So,
against the faith of the the students and the parents, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
So
exactly.
No, absolutely.
And it's sort of one of those things that, regardless of what sort of liberal hot takes you want to have on it, this is a school that these parents are funding directly. And they should have a say, at the very least, in sort of what goes on there. And if they have a problem with what their school is platforming, they're perfectly within their rights to, petition to have that changed. It just, I don't see how you could, argue against that.
It's a private company. It's a private institution. Their investors are the parents. They piss their investors off. The parents should the parents damn have a right to.
Well, look. I mean, yeah, absolutely, Scott. But I mean, the thing is, essentially you've promoted your school as this. All right, you've sold it. You sold the product to consumers. Let's be very liberal. Let's be very liberal. All right, you've sold the product to consumers based on a certain premise. All right, now you are actually in breach of your agreement. Simple.
Plain and simple. Let's
be very liberal about it. Let's be liberal.
But
at least in the minds of the parents, certainly, yeah.
But let's
look, the parents. It's essentially the parents have put their kids in that school based on a certain idea. All right. Now, if that idea is betrayed, there's a breach of trust. There's a breach of good faith, and that is straightforward, up and out and out. That's a liberal view. I'm not even trying to be authoritarian here.
Yeah. No, you signed up to the school under the clear, not only assumption but advertising that it is a Christian institution, and then lo and behold, Ronald McDonald, Jesus doing their thing, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing is also, and I know, and I have friends that are at or friends that have children who are at various Curro schools and stuff, and the Curro schools, well, the ones that my friends are at least, I don't know how it works, if it's one school or if it's like a franchise or how it actually works, but every single one of my friends is whose children go to those schools is under the impression that this is a Christian school, because that's the impression put forward in assemblies, in every other interaction that the parents have with the school, is it's framed as a Christian school. So are Christians wanting things that express their beliefs and wanting to deny things that don't express their beliefs within their private and privately funded institutions that they pay good money for? Is that now being authoritarian?
Well, I mean, somebody's got to have authority, right? Might as well be the parents, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Authority exists somewhere. It has to.
Correct. It has to.
I mean,
the lack of authority is being a child. It's childish.
Yeah. So I mean, no matter what people say, they'll be like, yeah, but then there shouldn't be authority. I'm like, okay, then what are we doing here? Like that's the whole point of school. It's a pretty explicitly authoritarian structure. I'm the headmaster. This is my vice principal. These are the administrators. These are the teachers, and you, student, are down here. If you don't want to play by the rules, get out. That it's an inherently authoritarian structure, and you can have your opinion of that what you will, but I mean, if you're going to be in a school, I mean, that's just how it is. Or any organization, a business, authoritarian structure. I can't just dictate to my boss of like, hey, this is we should do things the way I want. No, that's ridiculous. And so authority exists somewhere, right? And we can choose where that is, whether it's more democratic, where it's more spread out, whether it's at the customers with the authority or whether it's the administration that's the authority. There are different spheres of authority, but I mean, obviously somebody has to be in charge. And, I think certainly the parents should have a very strong voice in sort of what their children are exposed to.
Yeah. So there was a video that was posted. I'll put a link down in the description of the video that was posted by this gentleman, who was incredibly sincere, and you could tell by the video that he was actually really, 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 really hurt by the display, and he was very respectful. He said how much he admired the school and admired the teachers, and he loved the teachers. Those were his words. I love the school. I love the teachers, but they basically betrayed him, and that's the thing, because this wasn't just a child expressing a different view of religion and stuff. This was a blatant, in-your-face attack on Christianity. And you can call me a religious zealot. You can call me whatever you want. This right there, that exhibition was an attack on Christianity. Finish.
Yeah, definitely. Fly. There was definitely aggression, and you can't use non-aggression in that display. No. I mean, it was clearly antagonistic. That's not if you become antagonistic like that, you cannot fall back on the free speech argument. I'm sorry, that just doesn't gel with me.
Well, this is the whole thing. Is many liberals out there will go and say, "Oh, but you Christians are just being snowflakes, and why are you getting triggered by art and all this kind of thing?" And I'm like, "That's not what it was. That's not what it was. Wake up."
Yeah, and even if it is, I mean, so what? Like I said, people have to call the shots on it. You know, people. I mean, as someone who's worked in a school. And who has a lot of experience with education, the curriculum doesn't just materialize out of thin air. Decisions are made by people, and the parents, should absolutely have a choice in what that is, regardless of what it is. It's the same thing as if like at like an Islamic school or whatever. If you were to. They have certain standards on what's allowed and what's not allowed in accordance to their faith and traditions. Correct. And so should this school. It's just as simple as that. So yeah, I don't get the stick up the bum that some of these people have about the backlash.
It was actually brought up with a minister of religious freedoms or whatever. I don't know. It was brought up. It was brought to the government's attention, and it was actually said that this doesn't sort of violate religious freedoms and all of that. It doesn't, apparently. Okay, well, it doesn't. It wouldn't. I mean, it's a display of, satanic art, I guess, and I guess sure it can be protected by religious freedoms. Fine, I'm okay with that. Don't have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is that within a private institution, since when do these religious displays have freedoms within a private institution? As far as I know, the only freedoms that a private institution or that any opinion has within a private institution is whatever that private institution allows, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, the thing is, I don't see that this display. I mean, if you looked at that video of that display, that is not a religious freedom issue, and it's not a freedom of speech issue either. All right. Simply put, because if it was the way that display is done, all right, you can't hide behind freedom of speech or freedom of religion, I'm afraid, because that is a situation where you're not just openly expressing an opinion and presenting a case for your particular belief, all right. You are antagonizing another faith. So if somebody had to bring up a Muslim student who was there, for instance, had to draw a mural of Muhammad, for instance, okay, that would be a mere look, like I say, I wouldn't be necessarily, if I was a Christian parent, I might not be entirely happy with that, but I could see that being used as a religious freedom thing. You could hide behind the religious freedom issue there. You get all freedom of speech issue there because it's simply opinion. This was not opinion, I'm afraid. Simple.
No.
It's quite blatant. Look, so this has got nothing to do with being snowflakey or anything like that. What was expressed there was not an opinion.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It outright wasn't.
Yeah, and again, and even if it was, who cares? Like the parents, like I mean, the community doesn't like it.
Correct.
They want to change it. Yeah. They put pressure on the school. End of story. Like whatever. I mean, who? Yeah.
I think you really have to. The mental gymnastics that you have to really go through to justify this as a sort of some sort of strife for liberty and stuff is. It's just beyond.
No.
And this is why liberals are worthless in the culture war. I mean, what kind of pushback are we looking for here? Regardless of what it is, it could be this issue, it could be abortion, it could be anything. What are we supposed to do? Are we just supposed to vote harder next time, or?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
or just take it or say, all right, well, I'll open my own school, and we'll do things my way. And no, that's ridiculous. Like there has to be consequences, social consequences for these things.
Absolutely. The reality is that Christian societies are some of the most thick-skinned societies in the world. Okay, the freest societies that we have on this planet today are societies that would identify as Christian societies, or at least were founded on Christian values. This is a fact. Okay, without a doubt, the freest nations on this earth are Christian nations. So Christians are thick-skinned. Okay, so a lot of people saying, Christians need to stop being such a snowflake and all this sort of thing. Okay, however, there comes a time when that line just gets crossed. Okay, and for these parents and this guy in particular that made the video, this was that moment that they crossed the line and pushed the Oaks too far. And you cannot say to me that this person that put up this art was just trying to expect something, or just trying to display his artistic talent, his or her artistic talent, and wasn't expecting some sort of outrage. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and I mean, let's just change it to another example, okay? So, I mean, let's say like he's a very talented artist, and let's say he did like hentai, like animated Japanese porn or whatever, right? And he's like, oh, well, look, this is a free speech issue. Like, look at the artistic and the way he makes, the sweat glisten off that animated bum or whatever. I mean, this guy, you should have it. It's and let him have his exhibit or whatever. And the parents will rightly say, hey, I don't like this sort of cartoon porn that you're showcasing here. And then sort of what's the argument? Is it going to be, no, you should totally allow pornography in in schools to be on display? I mean, if you want to make that argument, yes, okay, but then we have sort of different issues. But if not, then obviously we're dealing with the tastes, morals, and sensibilities of the parents. This is just another thing that they feel that way about. And if they want to change it, that should totally be up to them. People don't want their children exposed to certain things, period. And that's just how it is. And them speaking up and doing something to change that is good. That means they're looking out for their children.
How can you be such an authoritarian pig, man? Children are their own unique free agents, Dylan. How on earth, how dare you say that, you dictator, I mean.
No, look, listen, I must admit, I've said all I want to on the matter. I'm actually just, there, I've said it, I've got nothing further to say. I'm just going to get irritated.
We're just going to get fired up. We could tie this one up.
Yeah.
Guys, I've had enough.
Yeah, enough of this. Enough of this bullshit liberalism crap. Weirdo liberalism shit. Anyway, anything that you guys want to say in closing?
I guess the only thing I'll say is, parents looking out for their kids is a good thing, even if you disagree with it.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know what else to say.
Just like that letter to that King Louis gave to his son. It was just in the previous episode. He was just looking out for his son, and I think that's the best thing a father can do.
Correct.
I've
got one thing to say. One last thing. Go the patriarchy. Go parents.
Yeah. Well done, parents. Well done, you beautiful symbol of patriarchy, that dude that made that video. Whoever you are, well done. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for joining. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, go check out our Twitter, Dylan's super hyper-based Twitter. Go and check out our Facebook page, Dylan's hyper high IQ based Twitter. It'll get you going there. Go and check it out, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Stay reactionary out there because
God
God
wills it.
wills it.